Hello and welcome back as we continue to explore various features of S3, and in this particular lesson, we will concentrate on lifecycle policies. So let's open up lifecycle policies here in the Orion papers, and let's discuss what lifecycle policies are. So an object lifecycle policy is a set of rules that automate the migration of an object storage class to a different storage class or deletion based on specified time intervals. By default, lifecycle policies are disabled on a bucket or object. They are customizable to meet your company's data retention policies. They are great for automating the management of object storage and to be more cost efficient. And they can be used with versioning to create a great archiving and backup solution. So there you hear that point made again. So let's look at an example of what a lifecycle policy is. So here's an example that I have where if I have a work file that I'm going to access every day for the next 30 days, but then after 30 days, I may only need to access that file once a week for the next 60 days after that. After which, meaning 90 days total, I will probably never access that file again, but want to keep it just in case. So given that scenario, what would we want to do with lifecycle policies and storage classes to make it as cost efficient as possible and to keep files well organized? Well, what we would want to do is when the object is first uploaded, because we're going to access it daily for the first 30 days, we want it to be in the standard storage class. But after 30 days, we're only going to be accessing it about once a week for the next 60 days. That sounds like a good candidate for infrequent access. So again, for step 1 and 2, for the first 30 days, we would want our file to be in standard storage. Then for the next 60 days, we want it to be in infrequent access storage. After which we are probably never going to access it again. So that sounds like a great candidate for Glacier storage. So what the lifecycle policy will do is it will automate the process of moving it between those various storage classes for us. So when we upload the object, we set the lifecycle policy and it will keep the object in standard storage for 30 days. After 30 days, it will automatically move that object to the infrequent access storage class. Then after 90 days, it will automatically move that object over to S3 Glacier. So again, it's just a great way to automate that entire process and really help to reduce our storage costs. Now, how do we actually accomplish that over here in the AWS console? Well, I can click on my bucket here, the Orion papers, and then what I want to do is right up here, go to Lifecycle. If you don't have any lifecycle policies currently set up, you can click here on Getting Started. And the first thing you need to do is give this a rule. So I'll call this my first life cycle policy. Next, we can add a filter to limit scope to prefix or tag. So this is where we would want to then filter down to maybe one particular object or to one particular folder within our bucket. But for now, if you leave it blank, it will just apply the policy to every object in a particular bucket. Click on Next. Here, if you have older versions of particular files, you can select between transitioning a current version, previous version, or both. But for argument's sake here, I'm just going to select the current version. So what I do once I select current version is that it asks me to add transitions. So these are going to be the transitions that we're going to add here. So we'll add a transition. We're going to transition from standard to standard infrequent access after 30 days from the object creation in S3. We're then going to add another transition, and this is going to be to Amazon Glacier after 90 days. So what this will do is it'll keep this in standard until 30 days, and that's when it'll move it to standard and frequent access. Then after 90 days, after the object creation, it will then move it to Glacier. And then I can click Next. Now this is another option if we want to do any expiration, and what this means is object deletion. But we're not going to do any deleting for now. We're just going to be moving it into Glacier. But if I eventually wanted to delete it from Glacier, I could always click on this and then do delete object after a certain amount of days. So say maybe after several years, I could have it deleted from Glacier. But for now, I'll just click Next. I can review the entire policy here. Again, I have no expiration or deletion policies. So I'll go ahead and click Save. So it's pretty simple. Following this template, this is the lifecycle policy that I set up on that particular file. And again, you can set up lifecycle policies on the current version or older versions as well. And with that, we will conclude this lesson. Thank you for watching. You may now move on.